But I do think there was the other thing too. The reason I got frustrated was people calling him a crybaby is because he talked about how he has never really been the guy. And he talks about how, Roman became that guy. He was like handed the keys to be the guy. And then he said, and then Cody came back and he was kind of given the keys to be the guy. And people were arguing with me about how that's not true. And I'm like, how is it not true? Like, if we were looking at the Shield, and I believe we've talked about this before.
We have. I know we have on this channel.
If you look at the Shield, the easiest person that would be a star immediately was Seth Rollins. He was a star every single week. Who was the weakest link in the Shield?
Roman Reigns.
And
why?
It's not even close. It's like because he couldn't talk. That's why they never.
He was the muscle. Talk. It was just he was the muscle.
And he wasn't like overly athletic in the ring. You know what I mean? Like his style, obviously, is because he's a bigger dude, but he wasn't as much
Seth
as like
Rollins jumping off the shit. Like
exactly. But then in Moxley isn't like. I mean, necessarily.
No, he's a technician. He was more Matt guy that is just brutal.
He had the personality because he was like weird. You know what I mean? So yeah, all of that. Yeah. So
I could do it good. I could do it good job, Moxley.
And you already said it too. Like Roman was basically picked to be the guy because he's 6'4", 250, unique looking. He is the typical guy that Vince wants to push to be the face of the company. Seth has never been the face of the company. I don't know why people think that he has been. He hasn't been.
He hasn't.
And then even when, there was a chance for that to change, it didn't because Roman was then champion for almost 40 years. Cody Rhodes comes back and is immediately the guy. And it's like Seth has always been number 2. I don't see why that's so controversial to say, but
I don't.
Apparently, it's
because Sarah, I've said this before, but sometimes the peeps lack the ability to critically think, and we cannot help them. They have to help themselves.
This isn't true, though. This is not true. Because this is the thing. No matter if you are, just because you're champion does not mean you're the face of the company. Are we saying Gunther's the face of WWE?
That's basically what I was going to say.
It's like it's not, because there's always somebody that is treated differently than you. And we're saying like Seth Rollins might be a multi-time champion, but who was getting the match, the main events at Mania? It wasn't Seth Rollins, it was Roman Reigns. Like that's the thing. It's kind of like if you were during the John Cena, Randy Orton era. Like you were never going to peak over John Cena or Randy Orton. It just wasn't going to happen. And I think that's just what is happening with Seth. It's like he said it multiple times. He unfortunately is in the Roman Reigns era of WWE. And there's like nothing you really can do to be bigger than Roman Reigns unless you were like Cody Rhodes, who just happened to come in at the right time and was an over-the-top babyface when Roman was at peak tribal chief. That's like that's the only way. So anyway, rant over. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. You're right. And for anyone who hasn't listened to that interview yet, go check that out. Chris Van Fleet. I would say friend of the show.
I would like to think
acquaintance, at least. We've shaken his hand. I think we got a picture with him.
But that's okay.
Everybody remembers Patty Pitt, Sarah. Come on.
Okay.